Morning. My camcorder came back to life again last evening, which rescued me from having to use the webcam, the webcam that I used to use. And I made a video with it yesterday, but it's come out not too bad, but it wasn't having a very good painting day after worrying about that. So I persevered and did a beach scene. This again is Watergate Bay. I've just done a rough sketch of a photograph that I took. Just some rocks. I'm not going to try and do a copy. There's Newquay, West Bentire, across this lovely bay, Watergate Bay. There's some rocks, and I'll put a couple of figures in here and there. So this is wet in wet, so I'll give the paper a bit of a wet. This is the Fabriano, £130. So I'll just give it a bit of just a little bit of a wet. This has the effect of expanding the paper uniformly and helps the paint to flow, and you can get some lovely impressionist effects with this technique. Just leave that for a minute. I'm using my usual palette of lemon yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey and burnt sienna. I only really use ultramarine in watercolour. I use the Windsor Blues and cobalts and cerulean in oil painting when I ever get back to it. Oil painting, that is. But I find that Windsor Blue, aka Prussian Blue, is so saturated, even the student qualities, which I mostly use, tends to get in everything. So I think it's best to use your basic palette and get used to all the things it can do, and only then try another colour and get used to that. But just throwing colours in willy-nilly doesn't lead to a very good effect. Right, I'll put a bit of nice raw sienna. Everything dries lighter than you put it on. A bit on the beach here, a bit of the water. If I put a little bit of light red in there, just a touch. Now, a bit of blue now. And I'll put a bit of a cloud light red and ultramarine. Okay. I've watched these sort of skies come in over the headland here. Nice streaky effects. Right, let's reclip the paper. It's drying nicely, and I'll give the horizon a bit of a dry. But I'll just take off some of that excess moisture before I use the hairdryer. Now that's given a very soft effect to the cloud. Now with my hake, I'm going to put in the distant headland. Let's just test. I don't want this to. Careful here because my water's coming, the sea is coming down a bit too far. So we come up to some hotels on the top of this, but we can only do an approximation. Be very careful here. I get that. Now there's a bit of a hotel on the top here, so on the golf course. We have many holidays in this area. You probably will be going down for a couple of weeks later in the year. I had some great times. Now I reckon we can put in a little bit of scenery in there as well. Just to there are lots of little beaches around the Whipsy and Porth Beach. Really lovely coast with the fresh plots of Newquay all in here. Love Newquay. It's a nice place to be during the day on a sunny day. Lovely beaches, fishing. Right, I'm working from a photograph online, but I'm going to put in the time of the day. It was probably around about 11 o'clock in the morning. The sun was behind these cliffs, and the sun sets in the west over here somewhere. And so these are quite in shadow, but I'm going to take a few liberties. I don't want them to be too dark. I'm going to just change. I'm just using the shapes. I can go over these. The rocks here. This will be the shadow. And then we'll have a bit of lighter bit of green in there. I find painting rocks quite difficult. I tend to paint them too heavy. Because you see, so the heavier you paint that, the more solid they are, but that's not strictly so. But let's go in with some nice richer, because there's lots of colours in these. Sand. I'll use the card trick in a moment. Just nice warm rocks here. Right, I'm getting a bit of it, but not too much. I don't want to overdo this. I've got to put the beach in there, but I'm waiting for it to dry. Let's just put. You get a lot of landslips in this. This quite loose shale with great boulders of slate. I will put some detail in. I'm just trying to show the shapes of some of this. Right, let's I'll dry those off a little bit. I can always add texture in here with my flat brushes. Now, the sea, the tide was out when I took this, but I'm going to paint a little bit in. So light blue grey. Let's just clean the palette. Right, hake, clean hake, bit of blue, bit of grey. Quite faint. Let's just do the test of there. So we'll let's put a bit of dark in some of those bits there, just to show the shadow side. I've got a couple of hairs now. The hair's just starting to come adrift from this now. It's been much used. Bill, thanks for the tip about the super glue or glue. In this part, drop a bit of glue down there and the brush is dry. I tried that in my other hake, and I held it up like that so that the glue would stay on the backs of the bristles, but it leaked down the side, so I lost my brush. So I broke it in a rage. Look, it's all gone hard there. So you have to, if you do that, it's a good idea, but don't hold the brush up there to dry it. The glue was quite thin in my super glue tube, so I'm going to be very careful next time. Anyway, lesson learned. I'll share that with you. Right, let's just put in just a bit of wrong colour. I meant some sienna in there. Just. Right, I'll give that a dry. shouldn't have put that bit of blending in there. I think I'll blot out some of that. Just get a flat brush, one of the stiff acrylic brushes, and just lift some out. Okay, that's not too bad. Right, I'm going to go and put in some beach colour now. So I'm going to use a bit of lemon yellow, a bit of raw sienna, a very, very faint, and a bit of blue in there, blue not green. Well, that's supposed to be the wet sand. Right, now I'll go back to doing some, I won't use the flats on those, I use the hay. Just a little bit of detail on the cliffs now. Nice darker, probably some umber in there, burnt umber. Bit of green in there, I think. Right, okay, leave that alone. Now we'll dry. Try and make sure that the paper is as flat as possible, because I'm going to put some shadow in here now. Nice, nice, warm shadow. For that I'll use a bit of alizarin crimson, a bit of burnt sienna, a bit of blue, and that clip there, it's just right, let's get in some darker. Soften that there, let's go a bit of rye there, let's just drag that over there. It's quite difficult to dry brush on this paper. Let's try it, fix it. Now we need a little bit of detail. Now some artists use acrylic white, so I've got gouache here, which I think being watercolour it's probably more authentic, shall I say. So I've just got this big butcher's tray here with my whites. I'm just softening them. They won't show, and I just want to put in some buildings for Newquay. They won't show probably on the camera, but they show they just about show here. Oh, I can't wait to go back. Not getting enough paint out of this dried. Right, that'll do. That tells me that that's Newquay. It's bringing back memories. Right, now we've got to put in some figures. So you've got a lot of surfers down here, so they're usually, although generally not this far up. Little lemmings. Some have got they've got red and yellow ones, so we'll put one with no, I'll go black again. Bit of the wet sand there. head's on that one just a bit too big. We'll have someone is in the water. Right, I'm not going to do any more to that. Oops, let's try that. Just some. The beach is very, very clean. It gets, the tide goes out about 700 or 800 yards, I would have thought. And you get little bits of mostly dead jellyfish or stranded jellyfish. But any litter, Flotsam and Jetsam is up in the foothills here, in all these rocks, because the tide comes right in here. Fit to think what it's like at the moment. Right, I'm going to put a mount around that and see what we've done, and then I might go and do a flood, another flood. I've been trying to take pictures off the television of the Somerset floods. Very sad. Livelihoods farms. Well, there we are. It's a bit cleaner than the one I did yesterday. That's come out quite a bit better. It's only an impression. I can't do portraits of it. I'm just, well, I quite like that. I'll zoom in and show you my little figures. If I move my camera around a bit closer maybe, then we can have a look and see what we've see what we've done at my cliffs. Lots of colour. Marvellous place. Right. Well, there we are, Watergate Bay from last year's photographs. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.